this is the introduction to my vlog. This is the first vlog of 2025. I'm hoping to do more vlogs. It's just a little difficult with like full-time job and everything. But this vlog is, I'm so excited for this one. I'm gonna be rereading the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. I'm so excited. Hair has been braided. Earrings are little snakes, if you can see them, for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And I have prepped my reading notes journal. So I'm probably going to be going through tabs like crazy, but I'm so excited because I've always wanted to reread and annotate this series. I have the first book here. I have no plans for the rest of the day other than to take care of like some chores around the house. So I'm going to start off the reading vlog with making a little latte at home, and we're going to dive into the first few chapters of the first book. Hi, it's many days later, but by many I mean like 2 days later, not a big deal. I just got home from work. It's a little gloomy outside. I had to work late today because we had a client that is in a different time zone than us, so I had to sit on a meeting past my work hours, which doesn't happen very often, and it's so fun when it does. Anyways, we're here, and we're here to talk about Hunger Games. I am more than 75% of the way through. I just have about 100 pages left, maybe a little bit less. And as you can see, the tabs have been going. And this book is even better than I remember. I understand why this had a chokehold on us when we were younger. Like, I'm so happy that I'm reading this now with like the perspective that I have from how the series has done, and like since I haven't been reading as much YA lately either, but I have some thoughts. But first, what I want to talk about, I've been taking some notes, and it's really interesting since I loved Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes so much last year, how more mature that writing feels compared to this. Well, this is not immature by any means though. Do not get me wrong when I say that. It's just we're inside Katniss's head, so we're following like teenager first-person perspective, whereas like you're a little bit more removed in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And I definitely don't want this reread to be like a comparison of the two because they make up the whole series that's wonderful together. But it was interesting going back into Katniss's head because originally a lot of the commentary I remember when I was younger was that she was like a stand-in, and like a lot of girls were putting like giving her the Bella Swan treatment where like you imagine yourself in those shoes and like you can be brave and you can do these things. But Katniss is like the most dissociative character I've ever met. Like, this girl has a next level dissociation mentality. She dissociates and, what did I say? Oh, she's desensitized and she dissociates. Like, so many things she's just like, well, that's life. Well, that's life. Like, I wouldn't be having a lot of the thoughts that she's been having as like a 16-year-old. So it's just been really interesting to see that perspective. Like, she is constantly in survival mode, even when she's not in the games, which I find interesting. I literally wrote this. This was one of the things that I jotted down. It's really refreshing to have a young female protagonist who's confident and she knows it, but she toes that line without being super arrogant. She still has her insecurities and is a bit closed off, but she's not immature. I didn't realize how emotionally mature Katniss was until this reread, which is so true. Like, Katniss conducts herself in a way where like her actions speak for her. And I was really digging that in the beginning part of the book, where like we have that scene where Effie compliments Peeta and Katniss on their manners and things, and this rubs Katniss the wrong way because she's like, well, the only reason that we have manners and blah 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 is because like we were taught, but like the last District 12 tributes like didn't do that because they were just starving and focused on eating as much with their hands as they could. And after Effie said that, Katniss is like, I proceeded to eat the rest of dinner with my hands, which is, she's just iconic. Like, I love her. I'm hoping in the next 24 hours I will finish this book because I'm doing pretty well on pace to finish the trilogy before the 18th, which I'm so excited because I have some time off coming up that week, so I'm definitely going to dedicate a lot of it to reading Sunrise on the Reaping. But I'm really enjoying this. This is probably going to be a 5 stars, and I already know Catching Fire was a 5-star for me. I'm most curious to see what Mockingjay is going to feel like after all these years. Anyways, that's the update for now. I'll be back in a little bit with another update. Reading update time. I have my Central Perk mug, which kind of matches the outfit that I'm going to be wearing today. I have like a green jacket that I'm going to throw on because today's my Saturday, so day off. We love it. And I'm actually going to go shopping with a friend to get a dress for my fiance's cousin's wedding that's coming up in a few months, and I hate shopping so much because I'm so picky about the stuff that I buy. So like I will literally go shopping for hours and come back with like one thing. Don't like spending that amount of money. I prefer thrifting, but that is like the forager in me. But anyways, I need to go and get the dress, and it's okay if I spend some money on it because I've been saving up. I don't buy a lot of things. Anyways, you didn't need to know that, but I'm going to get the dress and a few other things that I've been needing for a while, but just haven't gotten the chance to go and get. Anyways, we're here to talk about The Hunger Games. I finished the first book, The Hunger Games. I loved this. 5 stars. It was even better than I remembered it was. And I didn't remember how brutal the ending of this book is. Like, oh my gosh. I remember, you know, in the movie, if you've seen this, and this is like mild spoilers, but if you haven't read The Hunger Games at this point, what are you doing? Come on. In the movie, at the very end, when Cato falls into like the mutt pit and everything, and Katniss shoots the arrow right away into his head as like a mercy kill. Whereas in the book, it's drawn out over days, and it was really hard to read. Like, I'm gonna find the section, hold on. Listen to this. It takes a few moments to find Cato in the dim light in the blood. Then the raw hunk of meat that used to be my enemy makes a sound, and I know where his mouth is, and I think the word he's trying to say is please. Pity, not vengeance, sends an arrow flying into his skull. Peeta pulls me back up, bow in hand, quiver empty. The fact that he was getting torn apart by the mutts over days. Oh, this book is like so much more graphic than even the movies are sometimes, and I was like, whoa. But there's that like recurring theme of like the glorification of violence and like showing off your violence as like a spectacle. I really enjoyed this, especially it feels like a lot more thought-provoking than a lot of like novels that I read as a teenager. And despite what people say, I don't think the romance should be like the main thing in the book. I actually had a college roommate have this conversation with me, and it stuck with me for all these years, where she's like, The Hunger Games' greatest like critique is the fact that when the movie came out, everyone was obsessed with the fact if Katniss was going to choose Peeta or Gale, and didn't think about the greater consequences of like putting these games up for show and things. And I was just like, yeah, that's what everyone did in the Capitol, and that's what all the fangirls did online. I remember that. Like, it's wild to think about. This reflects our society more than people choose to think about or care about a lot of the time. I really loved this. I tabbed a lot, if you can see from the camera, and I'm super happy with my reread there. Moving on to Catching Fire, I read about 20 pages last night. It's the beginning of the book, so we're kind of following Katniss in the Victor Village following the Hunger Games. And this book follows, like, you know, her dealing with all the things afterwards, the victory tour, and then the Quarter Quell is the next Hunger Games that's coming out, so the 75th Hunger Games, and there's a special thing that happens which kind of, you know, tells the plot for the rest of the story. If you don't know, then skip ahead, I guess, but The quarter quell then is pulling from pools of previous victors because everyone's scared of Katniss's impact. So she and Peeta get drugged back into the Hunger Games again, and it's even more difficult this time around. I remember reading this and loving it, but I remember the beginning was a lot of setup and we didn't get into the games until about halfway through the book. So I'll be curious what I think now, because last time I read this I was like 17. So I probably would enjoy a slower start, knowing the reader that I am now. So I'm excited to jump back into this, but I probably won't get much reading done until after my shopping adventure. So I'll tune in a little bit later. Checking in with a Catching Fire update. You'll probably see the kitties moving around somewhere. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, my other kitty's right here. I got a second kitty. His name is Merlin, after the wizard from like The Sword and the Stone and King Arthur tales and all of that. So we're very excited to have our little wizard kitty friend. He is not as outgoing as Cal, that's for sure. Cal is like over here. There he is. Say hi, buddy. Oh, and there's Merlin too. They're like best friends. It's really cute, actually. I'm kind of obsessed with them. And like, I already didn't leave the house as much as like someone my age would, but now I really don't because of them, because they're so cute. Okay, I'm gonna fix this quick. I am about 250 pages into Catching Fire, and I've got some tabs going on, but I ran out of like one of the colors that I really wanted, so I had to go buy new tabs. Hold on. I just use like the Post-it ones, and they're like the see-through as well, so they're not like thick colored or anything. Like you can still kind of see what you're tabbing, which is nice, and I really like that. And then I just like these colors too. So anyways, that's what I use for tabbing. I was using the same tabbing system for this as I was for the first book, but one thing I've noticed with Catching Fire, Merlin, is that the beginning takes its time with the setup. And not that that's like a critique or a bad thing about this book by any means, but it takes a long time to really get going because the beginning part is kind of like the cat and mouse game, like weird feeling between Snow and Katniss, where he's like, you need to convince people that you're in love, and she's like, yeah, whatever, I will, I promise. And she keeps accidentally inciting rebellions in different districts because she is the symbol of change and of rebellion. So I do like the character dynamics between that, because we get to see a little bit more of Snow and like his like cruelness, and then we also get to see like Peeta, Haymitch, and Katniss all kind of interact after being victors together, which is really interesting. It's like this really well-developed tension between Peeta and Haymitch, because he's like, I know Katniss is your favorite. And I forgot how well written it was. The whole like premise in this book is that they want to save Peeta and everything, but it's written in a way where you can really relate to Peeta and you can feel that pain that he's going through, but also like knowing Haymitch and Katniss, like, you know, they care, they just don't show it in the same way. So I'm really enjoying it. I didn't realize, this is kind of funny actually, but Joanna Mason, the girl from District 7, why is she like naked all the time? Like, it's just really funny. Like, so there's that like one scene that like made it to the movie in like the elevator and everything, if you know, you know, but like during training, she's like oiling herself down, like butt ass naked on a wrestling mat. And I just think that's so funny. Like, she's so unhinged and I kind of love her for that. Got to the part where they're starting to train for the games, and Katniss and Peeta just had their one-on-one sessions with the game makers to receive their ranking. And this book actually reveals that they both are assigned a 12, which is like the highest score you can get, and they both do like an act of rebellion, form of like showing off to the game makers, and the game makers don't like that, and they give them 12s so that they'll be hunted down by everybody else being like, oh look, these people are really prominent, which is kind of like a callback to the first book where Katniss gets an 11 and everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I kind of had a feeling that was the case, and then this just really confirmed that for me. The main thing that I wanted to talk about, and then I'll stop rambling on this update, is chapter 14. We get to see Peeta and Katniss experiencing Haymitch's Hunger Games. They watch the film of him competing and winning, and that is like the only little snippet of information we get to know with everything that's going to happen in Sunrise on the Reaping. Like, reading that part just made me get more excited for the book coming out next week. And I'm actually going to a release party for Sunrise on the Reaping, which I'm so excited about. I will actually be traveling when it comes out, and I'll have some time off, and I don't really feel like filming during that, so I just kind of want to be invested in the story. I'm sure I'll probably be crying and posting things on my Instagram. But, so the goal is, hopefully I'll be able to get this done within like the next day. I feel like that's pretty achievable. If I read like 100 pages and finish this pretty quickly, then I'll have to get to Mockingjay, which I still have a week to do. But it's been a really good reading month, and I think that it's because of the Hunger Games, which makes me love reading all over again, and now I want to watch every single Hunger Games deep dive video to ever exist. So if you have any suggestions for really well done Hunger Games videos, I would love it. Film or book, or like a combination of both. I watched some really interesting ones from like a writer's standpoint. There was this one video where a YouTuber like compares the different movie styles of, like, I don't know if it was Catching Fire and Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, or The Hunger Games and Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but they talk about how it's like the same director but different approaches to the movie, and I thought that was so fascinating. I love analysis like that. There's also a really interesting video that I watched that's all about diving into imitating empathy in the Hunger Games too, which so prevalent. I was talking about how Katniss feels like she's dissociating constantly, and like she kind of has to like put on that mask and put on that front in order to get people to believe that she is who she is. But anyways, I'm gonna dive back into this, and I'll see you with the next update. Of a rough week. I finally just got back from visiting my folks. I'm wearing a sweatshirt where I spilled coffee all over myself, and that's kind of the vibe that we're going with right now. I am, however, giving you an update on Mockingjay. Very late. It's been days since I've recorded anything, and I'm about this far the way in. I'm on page 290, so I'm almost done with it. I have a lot of tabs in here, but I haven't been recording as much because I had my computer out of commission for a couple of days because of an issue, and I'm really frustrated by it. So that kind of threw me off, and I had a couple other things I had to take care of in my personal life, so I didn't get a chance to finish this officially before Sunrise on the Reaping came out, which a little bit of a bummer, but I'm also currently reading that, and I went to a release party, so I got some goodies here. I'm about, I want to say 50% of the way through Sunrise right now. I do, however, I have it here, plan on finishing Mockingjay still and offering some thoughts. I think I jotted down a few ideas that I'll just cover with Mockingjay, and I'll also show, I've been keeping like a little journal spread for each of the books with like a corresponding color on the top, and then like what the tabs are for. even though they're relatively the same for each of the different sections. But I think what I'm enjoying most about Mockingjay so far, though, is Katniss as a character. Like, you can tell that she has gone through a lot, and they talk about PTSD in a way where they don't even have to say PTSD, where you kind of know what it is. And she's just really damaged. Like, the portrayal of damaged characters in this book is really, really incredible and also terribly sad at the same time. Also, I didn't realize how annoying Gale actually was until rereading this series. Like, he's just so whiny all the time. In this book, he's like really bad, like war crime, hate crime kind of bad. I'm enjoying the character dynamics. I feel like they're really fleshed out. Like, we get to find out what happened with Joanna in the Capitol too, and I appreciate like her little training montage that she's been having with Katniss. So there are some like parts in this book that I really, really have been enjoying. It is much more politically driven, much more slower, not as game intensive, but I feel like oh, don't mind the cats just running around. But I'm enjoying this more than I thought I was going to, because in my headcanon it was always Mockingjay was the worst of the options. And this is still not a bad book, it's just hard when you have the Hunger Games and Catching Fire to kind of follow the story progression. It's going exactly the way that it should and how Suzanne Collins envisioned it. I just love the parallels in this book of her being like the Mockingjay is similar to her like being in the games. Like, they're prepping her to put her on TV and to get people to like look at her, acknowledge her, stand beside her and like cheer her on and things. And she never feels like she can fully be herself ever, that she always has to live up to these standards that other people are kind of putting on her, and then they're using her for propaganda too, which is crazy. Another interesting thing that I wrote down here was, since we're diving into Katniss's character just a bit more, I thought the most interesting part of this all is just Katniss's self-sacrificing nature that's throughout the entire story, really. Like, obviously she volunteers for Prim in the beginning, and then as time goes on she's like, I'm gonna protect PETA and Catching Fire. And in this book she's no different, where she's like, I can keep everybody safe by doing these things that people tell me I'm supposed to do. I am enjoying this one. I still think it'll probably be my least favorite of the three, but I already know how the series ends, but I'm very curious to see how it comes off with the emotional gut punch in written form. But I have exactly 100 pages left, so I'll probably just do a final series wrap-up reflection and maybe share a few other things related to Sunrise on the Reaping to wrap this vlog up. It was a little bit choppier than I wanted it to be. I had like these grand plans at the beginning of this year to make this like the best vlog ever. Obviously, it's just about reading the series and having people to talk to about it, since everyone loves this series so much. So even if this isn't perfect, I'm happy that I'm at least putting it together. So I'll check in with you after I finish Mockingjay. I finished it. Oh, I finished the entire reread of the Hunger Games. There are the tabs. This was a labor of love, but I'm very happy that I spent my month doing this. Hair is braided, very, very Katniss inspired. I'm trying to collect my final thoughts because there are a lot of thoughts percolating up here right now. Here are the three books, fully tabbed and appreciated like you wouldn't believe. I'm so happy that I spent time doing this. I really am. Having the fresh perspective as an adult going back and reading these stories, I got something completely new out of this, and I have a brand new appreciation for everything that Suzanne Collins has been writing about. I think I just appreciate the fact that this was so beloved as like a YA book, and it's good to know that I had good taste in one thing, at least when I was younger. But this story is incredible, and it makes me very sad that this is getting banned in so many places too. Overall, I think that this had incredibly dark themes, especially seen most in Mockingjay, which was like desolate and sad, and it felt like it was one bad thing after another. But I mean, that's kind of like the consequences of war, and I appreciated the fact that Suzanne Collins didn't shy away from that, especially when like the overarching theme, like one of the major overarching themes of the whole series is the showcase of violence, and like what that actually means, why we're, you know, blasting it for everyone to see, and how we become like desensitized to it after a while too. I know in an interview, Suzanne Collins had said that she was inspired to even write the Hunger Games because she was flipping between like TV channels, and like one second she'd have a reality show, and then the next it would be like graphic war, violent imagery. This just, oh my god, this captures so many things that's really hard to go over like in a short wrap up. But if you haven't read these, you absolutely need to read these. Not only are they great books on their own, but they're so culturally significant now too that you're missing out if you're not involved and invested in the story. I still think that I love The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes the most, which is, I know, an unpopular opinion, but I just loved that book. And that made me want to appreciate the series even more for what it was. Like this is peak YA. It really is, and I think it will be something that resonates with generations to come. Thank you if you made it to the end of this video, but this was a passion project of mine. I've been wanting to do a Hunger Games vlog, and I know I'm still not the best at vlogging, so if you have any tips for how to do things better, I just don't really share snippets of my life as much, really. I do a lot of like the sit-down videos, but I just wanted to get this on camera, especially since so many people are talking about it, and I want to talk about it in the community. If you are so inclined, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, if you leave a like or even a comment talking about what you love most about the Hunger Games, or what your expectations are for the new book. Anything Hunger Games related, book related, or vlog related, I would love to hear your voices in the comments. But follow me on Instagram if you haven't. I'm by the same name, Pages and Pastimes, over there. And I have a graphic novel with one of my best friends from college on Webtoons called Tales of Grandeur. If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out, or at least pass it off to your friends that you know love graphic novels. But thank you for spending some time with me today. I'll see you in the next video, and may the odds be ever in your favor.